Is that any better? Great. Thanks, Lauren. Fantastic. The connectivity is not working with my camera for whatever reason, so I do apologize for that. What's good news is I think my screen will share okay, but I appreciate you, Lauren and Karen. Thank you so much. Welcome to another month of YouFit Times EatLove Nutrition webinars. We have a really great topic today on back to school nutrition. So how we can get kids and even adults alike, because I'm a firm believer bento box style lunches for adults are coming back into fashion, how we can make those super well-rounded, super balanced, make sure that we are energized all day long. So I'm going to go ahead and present my materials, which should be okay. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera off anyway, since it's not working. At least I can't see that it's working on my end. And we're going to talk about back to school nutrition, starting with learning the importance of good nutrition for kids, learn how to engage healthy eating habits. This is one of the most asked questions I get as a dietitian is, how do I get my kids to enjoy food? How do I get them to try new foods? And I have a game that we can role play in a couple slides later. Learn how to create a quick and balanced lunch. And then, of course, learn about YouFit's in-house nutrition program. Before I get rolling, did the few of you on our call today, did you know that YouFit had an in-house nutrition program with EatLove? Because depending on your membership, you may or may not already have it as part of your nutrition program or your membership, your gym membership. So if you have a Premium Plus membership to YouFit, you actually already have access to EatLove. You can actually go to the YouFit app landing page and finish your profile if you haven't already. Of course, you can always email us at support@eatlove.is if you are having trouble locating where to set up your profile. We're going to go back here and keep it rolling. All right, so proper nutrition is essential just in general for growing children, for growth of bones, muscles, organs, tissues. Of course, optimal brain development, cognitive function, memory, which includes concentration, attention, learning abilities. A healthy immune system. I was watching TikTok yesterday, ironically, and I was scrolling through some of my RD friend pages, and they're like, back to school means back to germs. So keeping your healthy immune system for your children, that is going to leak over into you as well. So helping children fend off any illnesses and infections, nutrition is vital for that. A steady supply of energy throughout the day. That's eating every couple of hours. Your children are growing. They're always hungry. So making sure that you're fueling them with the best nutrition possible. I know school nutrition lunches aren't what they could be in terms of what qualifies as a vegetable. I spent some time in my dietetic internship in a school, and I was like, this is counting as a vegetable? It's like tomato sauce on a piece of pizza. So if you want to better balance what you're sending your kids off with to school, that's exactly what this webinar is going to be talking about today. A stabilized blood sugar levels and turning reducing mood swings into a more stable emotional state, and help reduce the risk of obesity and chronic illnesses later on through even childhood that leads to adulthood. So how are we encouraging these healthy habits? We want to make food more attractive. So these top 6, I think we're going to, super important, but realize that how much you are impacting their habits, their choices, their attitude, and their exception around food. So first and foremost, we're going to make healthy food attractive, present nutritious foods in a visually appealing and fun way. Ants on a log, faces on pancakes, things that are colorful, ways to utilize your fruits and vegetables, create cute shapes if you want to cut little stars in your watermelon, anything that's going to encourage them to try, new things. One of my favorite is to involve children in the preparation method. Working with hundreds of moms and parents and caregivers in my own private practice, I saw that this was the number one way to get their children interested in what was happening in the kitchen and wanting to be involved in what they were making. Therefore, they were more inclined to eat it. So taking them grocery shopping, asking for their input. It's Tuesday taco night. What's your favorite taco toppings? Getting them involved with that, taking them grocery shopping, letting them pick some foods that you incorporate in really fun ways, getting them in the kitchen, help them add herbs and spices depending on their age, of course, and when they can start using knife skills to, of course, chop vegetables or anything. But the younger children, have them shake in herbs and spices, or just be in that decision-making process where like, hey, this was your idea. Let's put it together and see what we can create in the kitchen. But it's a really fun activity to keep them engaged and want to learn more. Offer variety and keep trying. So introduce a wide range of nutritious foods to expand their palate and prevent the monotony of their food. Get them to try new things. I know growing up, mine was tomatoes. I hated tomatoes. I tried them like once and I did not like the texture. I did not like that they were super watery. My best friend is Italian. She's like, you have to try bruschetta. That was my first real introduction to tomatoes. I was probably 11 at the time. And I was like, I don't know about this. This is really weird. And it was from this really local organic cafe that we have in our hometown. And I became a diehard tomato lover from that day. But it took a long time to get over that. I don't like the texture of this. It's weird. It's just unfamiliar territory. That's going to be a lot of the thought process of some of your children and some of the kids if you work around kids. It's just a texture thing that they need to see a couple of times or just be introduced to it a few more times. Set regular meal and snack times, helps the children understand when to expect food and reduces the likelihood of constant snacking. We're going to talk about in a later slide how to make those meals and snacks more balanced. That way, when increased snacking is based on energy levels actually fluctuating because of the nutrient levels aren't there of what they need to be in terms of satiation, but also what they're selecting to make sure that they're fuller longer. This is a big one. Avoid using food as a reward. Saying, you can have a cookie if you eat your vegetables. It creates an unhealthy association with certain foods. Saying things like, if you're good, if you do this, it can lead to disrupted hunger signals, emotional eating. So we want to present food as a neutral. Chocolate chip cookies have the same value as broccoli. Just showing it in a way that all things can fit is going to be really helpful for them as they grow, progress, go to college and do these things on their own. They're going to have a better built-in system to how to cope with, being around some of these situations. And one of my favorite is just to be a role model. Whenever we feel like they're not watching, they're always watching. I remember I was doing another rotation in New York City at a Head Start, and I was doing a cooking demonstration for all of the families. And the adults were there, and I had one dad of the group, and he was like, oh, I can't eat these vegetables. They're not good for me. Or, saying something along those lines, just because he really hadn't been introduced to them. The kids are watching that. They're watching that, and the decline of that makes it okay. They go, oh, the kids can decline this. But really, he probably just didn't have the same nurturing aspect growing up to accept the foods, or at least understand that, if someone's watching this that's young and impressionable, how do I create that encouraging environment to say, even if I don't like this, I'm still gonna take it, and I'm gonna take a bite of it. I'm gonna show enthusiasm for trying something new, because I know that it is good for me and I have young eyes watching. So be a good role model, even if you're not gonna enjoy it. Just try it there, and your kids are more likely going to try something new as well. Introducing healthy word swaps. So this one is very important. Instead of saying, eat this, it's good for you, it's bringing back that good versus bad moral compass. And we know food doesn't have a moral value. So it's very neutral, but still positive. If they're associating sweets and ice cream together, we want to bring that to, we can also associate fruit as something sweet and delicious. This is a kiwi fruit. It's sweet like a strawberry. So it's creating a positive way around, saying something is sweet and delicious around something that we want to see more in our child's diet. You don't like dinner, you want me to make something else, I know many of you watching this today probably have had to make multiple different dinners and meals and snacks if one child is saying that they don't want it. And in the reality, no one enjoys that. We don't want to be short order chefs after we've had a very busy day at work and doing everything else on our plates. You want to make one thing, you want to find that common ground. Of course, it might be a little bit more difficult with younger children, but starting the process early. We all eat the same meal for dinner. Let's talk about some things that you would want to see in our meals, getting them involved in that choosing process of, we want to see, I want tacos on Tuesday, or I like this as a topping, that piece of it. But we all get the same meal for dinner. Sometimes you get your favorite, other nights someone else does. Creating that balance and that compromise is very important. This one, you don't eat enough, take a few more bites and then you can leave the table. I know my mom would always do this one growing up, and I was like, I'm going to stick my carrots in my sweater pocket and then I will never eat them and they will go in there and rot all day. True story. But making sure that you have enough to eat, because the next meal won't be until the next meal. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. One thing that I really enjoy here is, if you're getting a lot of pushback, is having a snack drawer. Again, kids and adults alike would enjoy this, is having some nice snacks that they can pull out whenever they, if they're not going to eat that meal that was prepared for them, or they're not going to eat enough of it, having something in the fridge that they can choose from, whether it's applesauce, carrot sticks, peanut butter packets with pretzels, something that they always have so that they're never really going to go hungry. But if they're not going to eat what's prepared or don't eat enough of it, having an emergency snack drawer that's available at all times in the kitchen. But letting them know that this is what is being prepared now, and we can try again at the next meal if you don't want to have any more here. The last one is, if you are good in the store, you can have a cookie. Just talked about this one, but that's the voice of consequence and leaves food out of the equation. So we want to make sure that we're providing that positive environment and creating a positive relationship with food, a healthy relationship with food. So let's talk about tips for healthy, stress-free school lunches. So these 5 tips here are going to be essential for creating your own system and creating a pattern for your children to feel more comfortable with their meals on a weekly, daily basis when they go to school, especially if you are packing lunches. So plan ahead, set aside during the time on the weekend to plan the week's lunches. It will prevent last minute stress and ensure that you have all of the necessary ingredients on hand. This is true for any meal that you're planning, even your own dinners. This is something I do every Saturday morning. Sometimes I forget, I work at EatLove and I have a built-in meal planner 24/7, but I'm like, do I really want a meal plan? And then my fiance always goes, well, we have to do HEB today. So if you guys are familiar with HEB, big chain out of Texas, love the grocery store. And I'm like, okay, fine. It only takes 10 minutes. So I pull out my app, I go in, I pick 3 dinners and a lunch and a breakfast, and boom, done. It's done in 10 minutes. Same thing with kids' lunches. So planning it ahead, giving yourself some wiggle room. That way you have everything on hand when you go to prep. If you're doing like a bento box or batch prepping meal for the future. Include variety. So this is one of my favorite ways to get creative in the kitchen, is aim for a mix of proteins. You can do lean meats, poultry, tofu, beans. All of them are going to be really high in iron and really great sources of protein. Whole grains is going to be your next one. It's going to add texture. It's going to add some fiber. It's going to add B vitamins. So whole wheat bread, brown rice, quinoa, vegetables and fruit. That's your color of the day. And then dairy or dairy alternatives if preferred. So bento boxes are one of my favorite things. I do adult bento boxes every single day for lunch, except I'm at home in my kitchen. It's not in a box, but on a plate. And there's usually a fruit, a vegetable, and some sort of wrap. Yesterday, it was a chickpea Greek yogurt and curry wrap. I had mango on the side with some baby carrots. It was extremely easy. I made the filling yesterday, so I have that for every day this week, at least for 3 or 4 days is enough of my planning for lunch, and then I'll probably eat a leftover of dinner another day. But you make it once and you have it available. And even the preparation of that meal only took about 5 minutes, but I'm still setting myself up for success. I have lots of variety. I have lots of different colors. And I know that it's well-rounded because I've hit all of my major categories, the proteins, the whole grains, from the wrap, the vegetables, from the baby carrots. And I also had some lettuce. I had a mixed green in the wrap, and then fruit. I had mango on the side, and my dairy is usually at breakfast. Batch cooking, making grains ahead, hard-boiled eggs, homemade muffins. Muffins can be savory or sweet. It can be egg muffins. It can be actual like oatmeal muffins, energy balls, things that can be pre-made, stored as a snack that you can put in one of these bento box components over here, but things that you can use, make once and share throughout the week. So making grains even for dinners. So all of our parents watching, making one type of grain for 2 meals. If you want to make rice and double the rice serving, you can apply that second batch of rice to your next meal, because rice takes probably the longest of your components to cook that day. Fish is very, very short. Chicken's a little bit longer, but sometimes if you're making a whole grain rice, it's going to take 45 minutes, effectively making that the longest piece of it. And if you want to condense your time to cook and prep, utilizing batch cooking for grains is one of my favorite ways to do that. Using leftovers as your advantage. So same thing with those batch grains, using dinners as a leftover for your next day's lunch or a component of that. I have a rotisserie chicken in the fridge that I'm going to be breaking down today for dinner, but also will be using that for my lunches tomorrow. So really great ways to use leftovers to your advantage. And then, of course, keep it simple. We are not in a 5-star Michelin chef restaurant. We're keeping it as simple as possible. I use the point macro method. If you can say, here's my protein, here's my carb, here's my fat, you have everything at once, it's a balanced plate. Lots of color, you know you're doing even better. So let's talk about healthy after school snack ideas. So we talked about that in an earlier slide up here. I'm just making sure that meals and snack times are set regularly to avoid the constant snacking, which can be good and not a desired outcome, especially if the food isn't up to par in terms of balanced meals. So here's what that would look like. Low sugar yogurt and a fruit. You're going to be getting your protein, your fat, and your carb from your fruit. A snack platter that can include fruits, vegetables, crackers, and cheese. You got all of your macros in here. Mashed avocado and a whole grain toast. You're going to be getting your carb, your fat, and a little bit of protein from the whole grains. If you want to add a little bit more, you can always add some mashed beans on top, or nuts or seeds or something else that is a little bit, gets you a little bit more protein. Chia seed pudding, same thing, protein, fat, and carb, all accounted for. Whole grain muffins with surprise veggies or zucchini. If you wanted to make, one of my favorites is just zucchini muffins. You have a vegetable, you have whole grains, and a lot of other things in there. Fruit or vegetable, nut, seed, and butter. So apples and peanut butter, celery and peanut butter, protein, fat, and carb. You got everything there. Hard-boiled egg, whole grain crackers. So just when you're putting something together, just look for protein, fat, and carb. You have a balance there. Snacks like a piece of fruit by itself is just a carb. So what's that going to do? It's going to increase your blood sugar for a very short amount of time, and then it's going to drop it. So what can we do to slow that digestion process down? Well, we can add some pumpkin seeds to it. We can add, which have protein and fat. We can add peanut butter to it, also protein and fat. So adding that at least a second component, where that second component has at least one more macro, if not two, is going to be a better option than just a piece of fruit alone. So I want to pause there and see if any of you had any questions about nutrition, healthy snacks, positive reinforcement when it comes to getting kids to try new things. I'd love to hear any questions or stories that you guys have at this time while I talk about YouFit's in-house nutrition program. So what's really great is, Lauren, great question. Best yogurt for kids. So it really depends on what you're pairing it with. If you can avoid, and I say avoid, I never really mean avoid. I mean in moderation, everything always in moderation. I am always looking for something with a bit more protein, personally. I'm a huge fan of Greek yogurts because they usually have a bit more protein and light flavoring. I'm not going to call out, I know I grew up with Go-Gurt. I don't know if that's still a thing, the squeezable tube bottles. But I'm looking for something with a bit more protein. I'm okay with full fat yogurt. I'm also okay with non-fat or low fat. I eat all of them depending on my mood of the week and what I'm pairing it with. But I'm making sure that I have a nice balance of that protein balance. That's why I like Greek yogurt. It has a bit more protein. Also, Icelandic yogurt, Siggy's yogurt, one of my favorites, has a lower sugar added content. Ironically, you're going to need sugar for yogurt for the probiotics and their fuel. So that's why you're going to see some sugar in your yogurt products as a fermentation process. So Siggy's, Chobani yogurts, Oikos, anything that's a Greek yogurt with as little additives as possible in terms of added sugars. If I want to sweeten something, if I want to add sweetness to a yogurt, I'm going to add some fresh fruit, but I'm still also going to eat the flavored Greek yogurt when I'm in the mood for it. I love just regular, the vanilla flavored of Chobani yogurt. I also have some of the fruit flavored ones. I think there's about 9 to 12 grams of extra added sugar in those. So it's not super, super high as some of the other yogurts on the market. But really what I'm after in the yogurt is a good protein balance, a good protein to fat balance with a lower added sugar content. And then, of course, you can add to it as you need to. Great question. Awesome. So what is EatLove? We are a personalized nutrition technology platform to help you and your family meet your nutrition goals 24/7. Think of it as an automated on-demand inspiration of meals. Let's say you're working on weight loss and managing blood sugars. You can program that in for yourself and then add your family so that you can all find that common ground that we're looking for at the dinner table or planning your kids' lunches. So we have lots of kid-friendly recipes in the database. We have over 7,500 dietitian-approved recipes, over 150 now popular restaurant chains where you can apply your smart nutrition profile to like popular Chipotle. What can you eat at Chipotle with your goals? Ready-made meals and meal kits if you want something to be really quick and grab and go. We have hundreds of those recipes in there. Say you want to use a bird's eye for dinners for the family. Super simple. I think they take like 30 minutes to cook, but there's very minimal prep time. So it's kind of like a set it and forget it in the oven situation. We are integrated with grocery delivery. So you can create your grocery list and send it off and delegate it. Save yourself 2 more hours a week if you're saying, I'm running out of time to make all these wonderful things that I have plans for my family. You can just delegate the grocery shopping. That way you have more time to prep in the kitchen and prepare the meals ahead and make sure that the balance in the well-roundedness of the meal is all there. Nutrition analysis and food logging. If you wanted to track you or your family members, or say your kid is into athletics and you want to make sure that they're getting enough protein and enough iron for their performance, you can actually do a nutrition analysis with them. So we have that available in the system. And then, of course, our monthly webinars, which, again, I apologize. I have no idea why my camera is not working today. So we have these on a monthly basis. And then our private Facebook community, which I know a lot of you requested to join this morning, where we feature a recipe of the month. So I believe I posted that earlier this week. It's a bento box style. I want to say it's a mozzarella tomato pesto, but I could be wrong. But we do have dozens and dozens of options for bento boxes in here to get you started. So that's really what I want to show you today in the last couple of minutes that we have, as long as it's going to let me share my screen. And like I said, everyone with a Premium Plus membership to YouFit has access to EatLove already. If not, it is part of the Premium Plus, which I believe is, at the time, it was $39 a month. You get not only EatLove, but HIIT Plus classes and on-demand classes as well. So it's just a little bit more than your premium membership for a couple of additional added benefits. If you're looking for a way to streamline your shopping, your cooking, get the family involved, find that common ground. One of the reasons that I love that is that everyone in your family has access to the portal, and you can actually share recipes by texting them to mom or to dad or whoever's doing the grocery shop and say, hey, this simple hummus bowl looks really great. Maybe not the best example, but you can do this with any recipe card in our system and say that I want this. And while you're on the app, you can grab this link and actually text it to someone in the family, and they can go ahead and schedule it into the planner and make that organization happen with this forecasted plan here. What's great about this is that you can swap with anything that matches your nutrition profile that you set up when you first get started. But I really wanted to highlight the bento box meal search. So if I come over here, like I said, we have 7,500 of the most common dietitian approved meals. And if I type in bento box, we have 290 inspired bento boxes in here that are ready to go for you to build healthy, balanced, nutritious lunches for your kids. Let's just take a peek at this one, chicken, fruit, veggie box. If we scroll down to the bottom, we can get a glimpse of the nutrition information, and I can see that this box is 36 grams of protein and 10 grams of fiber. They're going to be very full and satiated with this. There's a ton of nutrition in this bowl here. Same thing with all of them. You can do that with every single one, and you can say, yeah, I want to schedule this into the lunch that day, and we're going to schedule it here. We're going to place what's ever there, and we're going to batch cook this enough so that they can have this a couple of days next week. So we're going to batch cook this. If you have more kids that you want to enable it for, you can do that as well. And you want it for 3 days. That way you're scaling the grocery list up for the amount of servings, and for family members that are going to be getting that, add it to your grocery cart. It's all added and updated for you, does all the thinking for you. That way you can use it to analyze. You can move this around if you need to. But over 100 and some 200 bento box style meals in there for lunches. And then if you also wanted to type in and tag a kid-friendly option, we have 2,300 just meals and recipes in general that can be tagged as kid-friendly if you want to utilize that for breakfast or dinner inspiration. Simple things just like banana toast and apples and peanut butter, anything like that. So lots of great ways to get the family involved. I love the ability that you can share the link with whomever in the family that you want to see it. You can bounce ideas off of each other. You can get their input. Really just creates mealtime and makes it family time again, which I know is a difficult and tricky battle sometimes when you want the family members to eat everything that you're preparing. And sometimes it's just not the night. So having that emergency snack drawer, I think, is a nice safe haven in the meantime. And if you wanted to do any type of food analysis, you would do so via the food journal. You can see up here in the bar, you can actually run really fancy reports. If you want to get really granular with the information, it would just have a notice right here that says export nutrition analysis. Highly recommended for everyone who wants to take a better peek at their nutrition. But I'm going to pause there for now. One last thing. Once you add it to your grocery cart, you can get your grocery list. And here is where you can condense where possible, and then you can buy online. And that would be the whole process from start to finish based on your nutrition goals. And there you go. I'm going to pause there and see if we had any final questions for today. And then I will let you all go. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you all today. Again, I'm so sorry that I could not see you all today, but really glad that we got the volume checked out. If you have any other questions at all, looking to get started with EatLove or upgrade your membership to Premium Plus for this access, feel free to talk to your home gym and they can get you started. Any other questions about the program, feel free to email us at support@eatlove.is. And happy back to school for all of our parents out there, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.